Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you are having a fantastic Saturday. So typically on Saturdays, I would share my weekly home fragrance roundup. That video is not gonna go up today. I'm gonna try to get that video filmed for tomorrow. So if you're tuning in and you're kind of sad to not see that, like I said, check in tomorrow. This week has honestly been just a little bit more discombobulated for me. Towards the beginning of the week, Craig had a little work trip that he needed to take to Vegas, and I decided to go with him. Craig thought it might be kind of fun for us just to go together. So I popped down to Vegas with him for a couple days, and then as soon as I came back, I had to start prepping for a bridal show that I am actually at today while many of you guys are watching this video. So if you're not familiar, I work in the wedding industry. I'm a florist, and January and February is typically wedding show season, and we have a big one today on Saturday. So yeah, a lot to get ready for that. Also, my boss managed to also have a styled shoot that was taking place today. So it's kind of a nutty weekend, but I have definitely enjoyed this fragrance when I have been home this past week. Oh my gosh, what a crazy authentic red velvet scent. I love this candle. I'm just gonna spoil it right now. I want like 8 of these. I want my house to smell like red velvet cake for the rest of all eternity. I don't know what it is, but a few months ago, I got onto this red velvet cake kick. I had some red velvet cake during our anniversary time, and oh my gosh, I just absolutely fell in love. And I've been craving it constantly ever since. And when Kringle launched this Valentine's collection and I saw that there was a red velvet as a part of it, I about blew a gasket. What amazing timing for them to give me a beautiful red velvet scented candle. So I actually received this candle as PR. I did not receive it prior to the launch, but I still placed an order for more red velvet during the launch because I just automatically knew that I was gonna fall in love with this and needed more of it. Oh, it's so good, you guys. If you like authentic red velvet scent, you are going to get it in this one in spades. Now, I did already review the Bittersweet as well as the Strawberry and Prosecco earlier in the week. If you missed either of those reviews, they'll be linked down below. Also, I'll put a link down there where to shop with Kringle in that description box, as well as a discount code. So check that out if you are interested. But without further ado, let's dig into this one. I want to discuss the scent description, the notes. I want to tell you what my nose detects. I will compare it to Bittersweet because they are both chocolate fragrances. And honestly, there's going to be a number of you who maybe necessarily don't need both fragrances. If you typically are not super particular about chocolate, you just want a chocolate scent in general, I think you could go either way. But to my nose, they do smell a little different from each other. Just depends on if you're a chocolate connoisseur or not. But yeah, so let's compare it to the Bittersweet. We'll talk strength and throw, and then we will address any burn issues. I do want to inform you guys about the wicks on this one. It burns quite hot, and there are rather large mushroom tops that form. So we are going to have to talk about the burn quality at the end. But first, let's kick it off with reading through the scent description here. So let me pull up the description. All right, red velvet. The divine aroma of freshly baked red velvet cake layered with rich swirls of milk chocolate mousse and taste-tempting notes of silky vanilla frosting. The top notes are chocolate and sweet. The mid notes are milk chocolate and cocoa. The base is vanilla cream. All right, what are you smelling here? It is very much a milk chocolate fragrance. It is a combination of milk chocolate and then like that baker's cocoa note, if you will. So you've got that sweet milk chocolate and then that ever so slightly bitter cocoa note as well. But I feel like the sweetness and the milk chocolate portion of this scent kind of it kind of overtakes that little bit of bitterness that you can typically get in just straight up cocoa powder. And it just smells like cake, you guys. It smells like a milk chocolate red velvet cake with a delicious, like, creamy vanilla frosting. I know that it's typically, I believe it's called ermine frosting that's used on red velvet cake. One of my subscribers is a huge fan of red velvet cake as well. And she was saying, you know, like, hopefully there's like no cream cheese to be found in this red velvet. There's no cream cheese in here, you guys. What I'm smelling as like the quote unquote frosting note here is that vanilla cream. It's not cream cheese. Those two are definitely different to my nose. This is vanilla cream, and it blends really well with that milk chocolate. One thing I appreciate about this particular milk chocolate is that it's not overly sweet. Is it sweet? Yes, but it can definitely, I feel like milk chocolate, this is why I don't like to eat milk chocolate. I think it oftentimes just tastes too sweet on my taste buds. Like, it's an overwhelming level of sweetness, especially when it comes to American milk chocolate. I think that I prefer European milk chocolate because it tends to not have quite as much sugar in it. I think that's why I gravitate more now when I purchase chocolate towards like 70% or above dark chocolate, because it has a little bit less sugar in it. And I like more of that pure cocoa or like chocolate taste versus something overly sweet. This is a sweet scent. This is more sweet than the Bittersweet. So let's compare it to Bittersweet. Bittersweet to my nose smells much more like dark chocolate. So it's heavier on the chocolate note, more intense, if you will, and less sweet. Little bit of bitterness as well. I think that Bittersweet is very aptly named. You can definitely smell chocolate. It's not as sweet as milk chocolate, but it is a somewhat sweet chocolate scent. It's not quite as creamy as the milk chocolate in here, but that's okay. Regular dark chocolate is meant to be a little bit more pure, a little bit more focused again on the cocoa note versus the sweetness. If you are honest with yourself and you typically cannot tell the difference between most chocolate fragrances when it comes to home fragrance, I think you could either go with the red velvet or you could go with the Bittersweet. Maybe it just depends on how sugary you want your chocolate scent to be. Maybe that is your deciding factor there. If you want something a little sweeter, go for the red velvet. If you want something a little bit less sweet, go for the Bittersweet. But both are really well done chocolate fragrances, very authentic. I think that I just prefer this red velvet right now, even though I normally prefer dark chocolate because I am on a red velvet cake kick. And this right here is just an absolutely authentic version of this specific type of cake. I'm talking many, many years ago when I was still purchasing Yankee Candles, I came across their like cake collection that they launched at one point at my local either Marshall's or TJ Maxx. There was a chocolate layer cake. There was a red velvet. There was also a lemon, I believe, that I picked up. This red velvet here, I think, is better than the red velvet from that Yankee collection. I think it's also better than the chocolate layer cake from that collection. And I really loved both of those scents. These, to me, smell even more authentic than those older Yankee candles that I finished many, many years ago. So incredibly well done. Strength and throw are also really potent on this one. So this is a 2-wick candle. If you're newer to Kringle, these tumbler jars have 2 wicks in them. So the strength and throw that I get out of this 2-wick is probably, it's kind of waffled, I would say, between like a 7 and an 8. Towards the beginning, it was very much more of an 8. As I am settling into the midpoint of this candle, it is becoming a little bit more of like a 7, 7.5. I'm not entirely surprised by that. I still think that is a very good strength and throw for a candle of this size with this many wicks. The throw is probably right around the 7 range as well. I've really enjoyed burning both the red velvet and the bittersweet at the same time at opposite ends of the house. I think it's almost like you're going through a little bit of a chocolate journey as you walk between the rooms where the candles are placed. They are so good together. They are great on their own. And they're both quite potent. These are not subtle fragrances. If you tend to be a little bit sensitive to gourmands and you're wanting to try a gourmand, I'm not sure this is where I would tell you to get started. You might find I think you might find the red velvet maybe potentially cloying. I don't think that you would find the bittersweet cloying because again, that one it's not quite as sweet as the red velvet. But yeah, both have a great performance. And when I have them lit together, it fills up the entire house. Like from the downstairs to the upstairs, all of the individual rooms upstairs, if the doors are open, these fragrances have traveled and spread across the entire house when I've had them lit. So if you're a fan of chocolate in general, I would suggest maybe picking up one of each, or again, whichever floats your boat a little bit more. But they are potent. They are not subtle. These are not fragrances that I would tell you to light if you are inviting friends or family over who are sensitive to scents. You're going to overwhelm them with both of these fragrances, the bittersweet and the red velvet. All that being said, the only real burn issue that I have had with this one is that it forms massive mushroom tops. Way bigger mushroom tops than the bittersweet and bigger mushroom tops than the strawberry prosecco. So I'll give you guys the overhead shot. One thing I haven't done is run my finger on the inside of these candles here because, well, this one especially, like I said, gets really hot, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it real quick here just so you guys can see that there's, oh God, that's hot. There's no discoloration. There's a little bit of like wax residue on my finger there, but there's no discoloration in terms of sooting from this candle. Again, that's just wax there. But do you see in that wax pool down there, there are some pretty big mushroom tops. Yeah, this has been lit for about an hour and a half here. And you can see those mushroom tops are starting to grow. When I let this go for more than I would say 4 hours, I get those big mama jamas down there. I need to fish those out. I don't like the way that looks. It doesn't have any effect on the scent as far as I can tell right now, but I don't want to let that stuff collect. But what those black dots, by the way, that you're seeing right here on the side of the jar, that's just the reflection of those wick droppings, if you will. But yeah, watch this one. It gets hot and you're gonna have to trim the wicks. There are certain Kringle candles where the wicks kind of are almost self-trimming in a way. And there are other Kringle candles that burn much hotter, like this one, where you're going to get those really big mushroom tops that you're gonna have to clip off. Do not trim these wicks too short. But definitely get rid of that carbon ball at the top before you proceed with any subsequent burns. But that's all that I have for you guys. No complaints on this one at all. I love the scent. I think the strength and throw is amazing. Would I like to see this one in a 4-wick format? I feel like it almost might be too much, but since I'm a sucker for red velvet cake right now, I'm gonna say yes. So if Kringle is asking opinions, thumbs up for me. Give me this in a 4-wick. I will happily buy it and experience it. And if it's too much, I'll go back to purchasing the 2-wick. But man, this one is delicious and incredibly authentic. And if you two are also on a red velvet kick, join me in enjoying this candle here. All right, my battery is actually dying, so I should go. Thankfully, the review's done. I appreciate you being here. Subscribe if you are new. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.